Welcome back, YouTube. Tim Wallace with Best Damn Shop Around. If you've been following along, we just finished up on our dually conversion project thing we just finished. Pretty neat, been cruising it around a little bit. Still got some problems, still got one major problem. I'm putting it in timeout right now. It's giving me a headache. So in the meantime, I have more projects than sense. So let's go ahead and start another one. If you remember a while back, we picked up this beauty. It's a 1960 Buick LeSabre. It is the four-door flat top, hard top, whatever you want to call it. Land yacht is really what it is. Found this guy on Marketplace a little while back. Now I've been wanting a 59. Haven't been able to find one yet. Not one that I could either afford or was worth saving. The 60s are very, very similar. The front ends are different, but the body lines are very similar, and I think the back's the same. Anyway, they still look really cool. Wasn't terribly far away, wasn't terribly expensive. Here we are, you know, it's an impulse buy. Blacked out and bought a car. Not the first time, not gonna be the last time. We're gonna dig it out of our hidey hole here, start tinkering on it, really assess what we got. I haven't had this thing on the lift. Literally brought it home, pressure washed it, set for a couple months. Taylor went, buffed her out, got a little bit of shine back to her. Got a pretty cool little patina here. Pretty neat. Now we're gonna get on the lift and address some of the issues we know it has and some of the issues we think it probably will have. Issue number one. Oh, it's kind of dark, but someone did the cylinder head delete. Yeah, that's not gonna cut it. First things first, let's dig it out of the hidey hole and get it over in the main shop. Woo, she's a biggin'. Come on. Woo. That thing, how to make an honest man out of you. First things first, the old girl, she's got a lot of junk in her trunk. By junk, I mean a disassembled 364 nail head. I mean just old steel milk crate full of rocker arm shafts and pistons. Oh, that's the pop-up edition. That's for high horsepowers. I'm trying to get some, I mean, there's just bolts everywhere. There's push rods. This is pretty funny. Someone organized their push rods. That's actually pretty clever, but don't need that anymore. They disassembled everything, but left the block in the car, put the oil pan back on. It's just very strange. One of the cool things though, check that out. That's pretty dang neat. Was going to repaint a lot of these tins and stuff, but I can't get rid of that. Yep, get this guy cleaned out. Here we go. First look up under the car. Already noticing some pretty funny things, like the can opener effect right here. Sure, someone got a little wild with the pulling it with a chain or something. Who knows? Also, popped this hubcap off because it was just barely hanging on. And pretty cool if it'll focus in. The lug nut has front stamped on it, and the rear has rear stamped on it. Kind of cool. Didn't know that was a thing. I knew we had a little rust in the right hand fender. We'll look at that in a second. Found a little spot here. Not too bad. All in all, it looks like it's had a little bit of love in here. It might have had something at one time, but you know what? We'll just leave that right there. It'll be just fine. The car's got a ton of undercoating, which is great because I chipped this back and look at that shiny and nice that factory paint on the chassis is. The undercoating really saves these cars. Starting here under the driver's floorboard, obviously we got a little bit of the Fred Flintstone modification here, but that's fine. A little pan work, a little brace work. It's not too bad. You move right behind the brace. Oh, that looks solid. Frame obviously super solid. I mean, all this is real nice looking. Get up under here, rest the brace. You know, didn't fare so well. Must have had a leaky window. A little weight reduction for us there. Must have a leaky window or something. Remember, I still have the carpet in this car, so I don't really know what the pans look like. So this is all kind of figuring it out as I go. Here's that looks nice. Frame on this thing is gnarly. Not an X frame like a Chevrolet would have been. Perimeter frame with this huge cross member in the middle. All of the pans back here. Looking good. That's the frame. Inner rockers look nice. Check the passenger side. That brace is fine. Okay. Frame obviously good. No, not even. I mean, you can hear that thud. That's just all this. I mean, let's see. You can just see how much undercoating is on this car. Yeah, they protected it. I'm sure that's what saved it. A little bit. So this is the corresponding side. She's a little. No, screwdriver's not going through. A little crusty. Probably could use a little love right there, but not terrible. This is the worst of the rust. We knew about this going into it. Looks like it's been at a used car dealership sometime in its life. I mean, you can see right there, it looks like some screen door material. Yeah, that's definitely some screen door material there. This is like some electrical HVAC tape. Yeah, and obviously the good old-fashioned Bondo. Just globbed in there. People not thinking this makes stuff rust out worse in the long run. Get out of there. Let's see how bad you are. Hi-ya. Oh yeah, more screen door wire. Screen door wire. I can't even talk right today. And a brace is a little rotten. Not a big deal. But you move right here to the inner fender. On a good note, all that's solid. Pretty good looking car so far. Frame's good and solid. Wheel wells are nice. Always check front and back of wheel wells. All that looks good. Trunk pan extensions, good. You see the undercoating kind of flaking off right there. But the pan looks good. I don't know about under the gas tank, but right there it all looks good. We got the heavy duty exhaust hanger there. And looks like the quick release one there. You know, all in all, not too bad. Oh, look at this. Look at this differential. Like, check this guy out. That's a monster. I don't know if these are considered the BOP rear ends, like in the late 50s stuff. I don't know. Closed drive shaft. Looks gnarly. If it is, it's like 9. I think BOP stuff was 9 1/4 inch ring and pinion. Serious heavy duty pieces. All the wheels match, which is good because those do get mismatched throughout their lives sometimes. And another little funny thing we noticed is we've got the old school screw in spring spacers, but just on one side. Must have had a big one on this side. Got a little saggy, but that's fine because a little foreshadowing, these guys, they're out of here. All in all, not bad. Let's see what we got to do to get this transmission out. Or wait, we'll leave the transmission in? I don't know. If you had to pull this motor, would you leave the transmission in or would you take it out? It's got this weird, I shouldn't say weird, I've just personally never messed with one, like coupler thing. So this is the trans to what's essentially like a torque tube, closed drive shaft. Don't know exactly how all that comes apart. I have to do a little Googling on that. We'll figure it out. As you can see, we got the motor out. Never really knew why they took this motor apart. The person I bought it from someone that had taken it apart. Just had a guess. Got the oil pan off, started scraping around, cleaning it up. I think we may have a little indication as to why Motor had to come out. Yeah, there we go. Gotta use that Rotella. All right, it's almost that time. Obviously, old motor's out, new motor's on the stand, getting the aerosol rebuild. It doesn't take that much time to hit some of this stuff with a wire brush, a little wax and grease remover, a little spray paint, makes a world's difference. Some of the stuff we're going with is going to be black. Going to do black pan, downdraft tube, valley cover. Yeah, we'll call that that. Going with the semi-gloss black Rust-Oleum for that, and for all of the greenish blue stuff. They don't make a Buick engine paint. Duplicolor makes a Detroit Disa Alpha Green. Pretty dang close. It's what the guys on the Buick forums are running. I don't know. Good enough for me. Now, do some of that spray can magic. On the first coat, you're going to want to kind of run around everything lightly and make sure you get some pretty decent coverage on the tack coat, I call it. Let it sit out there in the paint booth oven. Let it tack up pretty good before we do the second coat. Stuff covers really well. Shouldn't take but 2, maybe 3 coats. Everything was sanded with 320. Get a good mechanical adhesion on it. Yeah, I mean, this isn't a Barrett Jackson kind of car. This isn't a rotisserie restoration. Just want to make sure we get the chips off of it, make sure we get some good adhesion. Yeah, it'll be good to go. Day 2 on the Buick project. Got a ton of work done yesterday. It was awesome. Obviously, engine out. Started on prepping the new engine. We'll talk about that real quickly. Here we have a 364 nail head. If you ever wonder why they call them nail heads, if you look at the way the valve covers, they sit straight down instead of at an angle like most valve covers. I guess that's why they call them nail head. That's what I was always told. I don't know. This used engine from a local fellow that pulled, this one came out of a 58. I think this one came out of a 58. Guy pulled it to do a restoration. sandblasted his car and realized the car was just completely rotten, so he gave up on the project, sold me the motor. Good running motor, supposedly. One thing I found is there's a little bit of some sludginess. I've cleaned in here. I cleaned the rocker arm shafts. A couple of the lifters were stuck, freed those up. Everything rotates. It feels like it's got good compression just by turning by hand. I don't know. We're gonna stick it in because it was cheap, and these things are really expensive to rebuild. Here we have our table full of freshly restored parts. This engine enamel comes out, I mean, it's got a pretty good shine on it. Nice and hard once you let it cure overnight. Don't rush it like I normally do. Ran out of paint, so decided to go with the satin aluminum color on a couple pieces. It'll look nice and presentable. Just ran out of the green, but wanted to go ahead and get it knocked out. Now, time to start screwing this thing together. Also, picked up some new motor mounts. Funny enough, noticed the motor mount was questionable. It wasn't broken, but it was cracked all around it. Went online, immediately brought me to eBay. $80 for a pair of motor mounts. Okay, pretty high, but whatever. Call a local parts store, call the local O'Reilly's, can't get them. Well, I thought, let me just try the Advanced Auto Parts. So I didn't ask for motor mounts for this car. I asked for the part number I had found on Rock Auto, because I found that on Rock Auto that they were still available, but I didn't want to wait a week on them. Had them next day for 50 cents a piece cheaper than what Rock Auto was. Obviously no shipping, so sometimes it pays to check around, shop around. Might find a little bit better deal, or even if you have to pay a little more, not having to wait, I pay for convenience a lot. Anyway, enough rambling. Let's get this thing together, and I would love to put it back in the car today. Stopped by Andrew's house this morning. We picked up another intake with a carb. That carb moves freely, and his car ran good on it. We drove it home, as you saw in the video. His is a 55. Drove his 55 home. Obviously a different motor, but I think the carbs are the same. At least we're gonna try it. Mine's almost stuck. Instead of messing with that, just picked his up. I'm gonna give it a shot. But anyway, enough rambling, back to working. All right, next big hurdle we have on this car is going to be the carburetor. I've rebuilt carburetors before. I'm no master at it. You'll probably just get a time lapse and some little highlight things along the way. There's plenty of really good videos out there on how to rebuild carburetors. This one's a little bit of an oddball. I'll show you which one we got. This particular unit is a Bendix Stromberg model WW. After a little research, there's several models of this. And right here on top, I've tried to clean it up, but we probably can't focus on that real good. This is a 7-113A, this particular model. As far as I know, this is the original carburetor. At least this is the one that was bolted onto it, and they did list them as coming on these cars. Now, the hot rod guy, I mean, wants to put a 4-barrel on this because, you know, more barrels, more power. Well, 99% of these 364s came with 2 barrels. The rare 4-barrel cars, I've personally never seen one. And the 1 or 2 intakes that I found are like $700 for just the intake. Then you have to buy like an AFB style carburetor, which isn't the best carburetor in the world, but you know, it is what it is. So yeah, not gonna do that. At $700, we're on the way to the money to like LS swap this thing or do something a lot cooler. We went ahead and got a rebuild kit for this. Most rebuild kits I've ever bought are like $30-ish. This one was like 75 bucks. Why it's so expensive, I don't know. But what I do know is little things like the curve on the end of this accelerator pump, and there's like a little spring right inside of here. It's kind of specific for this particular carburetor. Comes with all your measuring tools. Instructions come with all the adjustments. And it tells you how to set your float levels, blah blah blah. Yeah, picked this up from the local carburetor store called Dollar Carburetor here in Gainesville. They were able to source it in just a couple days. Shows an exploded diagram, parts list. Yeah, pretty straightforward. This will probably just be like a little time lapse. I might show you some neat little things along the way I discover, but I am not the guy for a carburetor tutorial. We'll show you the highlights and just keep our fingers crossed. Everything disassembled, you saw in the time lapse there. Took it for a bath in the old Gunk carburetor parts cleaner kit. Pretty neat. I've had this one forever. I think it's a little stronger than the stuff you can get now these days. Comes with a basket with some perforations in the bottom so that you can soak your parts. Yeah, here it is, all laid out. This is, on this towel is all of the original stuff. Obviously the original body, and then I like to lay out the stuff that came with the kit, and I like to lay stuff in, well, I said as those are, yeah, here we go, in pairs. So 2 washers the same size, 2 ball bearings even though they're different. Kind of lay stuff out. Gaskets, I'll lay those out. This way you'll know what comes in the kit so you don't start reusing old stuff when you have new stuff right here. For instance, I cleaned all of our old needles. They come with new ones. But I did clean our old accelerator pump because some of the springs and washers didn't come with the new ones. Let's go ahead and clean everything. Doesn't take that long. We let it soak in that stuff for like 20 minutes. Gave it a little spritz of the brake clean, carb clean, whatever you got at the moment. Took our little pick, our little pocket screwdriver, a little Scotch-Brite. On some of these parts, specifically this lower body here, we had a bunch of corrosion and nastiness down in the accelerator pump area and the bottom of the bowl there. And then on this guy, you can kind of see a little bit of the pitting. We had a little bit of rust pitting in there, as well as in the bores here, had this funky white corrosion. Got all that cleaned up, scrubbed up, ready to go. I'll take and usually drop a few little drops of 3-in-1 oil around the the rotational points that we can see. Yeah, now we just throw this thing back together. A little right. Oh yeah, we talked about this. Red Scotch Brite. You can use this, like let's say you have a little torsion down there. You just take your screwdriver and you kind of work it around, rinse it out. Brake parts cleaner, blow it out with air blower. There we go. Can't buy these carburetors new, so got to work with what we got. Another day, another set of problems to solve on the Buick project. Worked yesterday, a little bit of the day before, making some brackets and gathering hardware and whatnot. I'll give you the rundown and hopefully get everything installed today. Problem number one is this guy, our old school generator. I don't know. I mean, it might work. It might be okay. I can tell you it's probably not going to keep up with the air compressors I plan to run with the air ride system. I'm going to run 2 compressors. I don't think this is going to keep up with it. What are we going to do instead? That's right. Got this Power Master unit here. It is a 100 amp. Yep, let's see. There it is. Part number, oh man, come on Speedway. Covered up the part for us. There we go. Part number 7294. And it's 100 amp, one groove pulley, 1 or 3 wire hookup. And it's a 100 amp max, 75 at idle. Yeah, should be everything we need. But obviously that doesn't bolt straight on. So what I've come up with here, I'll kind of show you, is took and changed the angle and extended our upper bracket here. Actually, I don't know what this upper bracket came off of. I found it over in the junk pile. So that'll go there, right? And then I made this bracket, which is just a conglomeration of stuff that I had in my scrap pile. And it will use this stud right here on the head, and it uses the bolt on the front of the manifold right there, and gives us a mounting stud for that. And I'll show you what it'll look like all together. Here it is all put together. Looks right at home. I don't know if we can tell on the video, but the pulley alignment will go to the first rib here, and this one's just kind of sitting on there, but it's on there pretty snug. It'll go right across there, the first rib, right down there. Everything lines up pretty nice. Bracket looks clean and tasteful down there, and we have plenty, oh, wrong hand. Oh, plenty of adjustment. Got it kind of snug on there. Yeah, just like that. Easy enough. Next we'll wire it. We'll go over how we wire this thing up. Another problem we have, we got something missing right here. Here's the factory radiator that come out of the car. A lot of times on these old brass radiators, you'll see where they'll start to turn green, where they've been leaked or they start to corrode. This one actually, easy. This one actually looks pretty good. And if you look down in it, I mean, she's a little rusty in there. This one would probably be okay. But you got to take these things and get it cleaned at a minimum, pressure tested. And then at the end of the day, it's I don't know, what is this thing now? 65 years old, 64 years old? I'm not gonna roll my dice with that. What I decided to go with here is only the finest, highest quality eBay unit. Now this radiator says it's for this. What we did is we taped it up after we fit it and make sure everything was good. We taped it up and painted the top tank because I hate the way aluminum radiators look in these classic cars. Just, I don't know, it screams eBay a little more than I would like to admit to. But modern core, it's going to cool better. It's got the provisions for the trans cooler. It's got the correct inlets and outlets. It's a nice piece. This is 120, I think it's 125 shipped from eBay. And I mean, I don't know, I think the last radiator I had cleaned and pressure tested was 100 or 150, and this is going to be a newer, better thing, maybe. I don't know. The one thing that was kind of weird is that it was specifically for this car, but as you can see, it doesn't have the brackets on the side. Well, just whipped up a couple out of some 3/16 aluminum. It already had a pre-drilled hole right here. It was the perfect size for a rib nut, so that'll go into there. and that'll be the top stabilization. And down here on the bottom, it just sits in a cradle. Easy peasy. Just like that. She's in there. Nice and sturdy. Plenty of room for our fan. And this one has like a, I don't know, it's like a 2.5-inch fan spacer. Plenty of room for that. Some new hardware, some little 1/4-20s. On the bottom, it sits in this saddle right here. It's got 3 pieces of rubber that insulate it from the steel. But a couple of them, like the one over here, this guy's wanting to kind of push out. So I'm probably going to take it back out and glue those rubber pieces in, or maybe do something different. But regardless, she's in. As for the hoses, the OEM ones would work if we could find them. Don't offer them. So we're going to make some. What I like to do here is take a lot of photographs. I'll take photos from up here, from a 45-degree angle-ish, from down here, so I can kind of get an idea of all my different planes. And I'll go to the local parts store. Usually they let me rummage around in the back where they have all the hoses hanging up, and I'll look at them. Also measure your inlets and outlets, and I'll go through there with a tape measure and measure them and look at them and kind of figure, you know, you might have this hose that has 5 or 6 bends in it. Well, this one needs 2. Well, I could use the center of this hose or one end of it or whatever. Yeah, I'll show you what I come up with. Pretty straightforward. It's just got to come out of here, turn, and boop, down into there. This one is just turn, doop, doop, right into there. Won't be too bad. Today, huge day on the Buick project. I think, it's going to start. It's going to start today. This may look a little more complete than before. Sorry, I'm gonna go ahead and apologize. This video is gonna skip around a bunch because I didn't order all the parts, so I'm just trying to work on the cooling system until I run out of parts, work on the fuel system until I run out of parts. So if it looks a little more complete now than before, my bad. It'll all be covered at some point in this video or the next. But carburetor's rebuilt. Was waiting on the fuel fitting here. Finally got that in. Went ahead, put some heater core lines in, cooling system, power steering. Cross our fingers the pump's good. Did the alternator, we can see it peeking out over there. Now I don't have an ignition key, so we're going to use the, you know, the one-man special here. See what we can do. Got our jumper leads hooked up to the, well, they used to be. Come here, you. Hi. There we go. Hooked up to the coil. Got our other end here. Whoa, careful. Hook our battery up. Now I use my power probe here to kind of see. We got, it's saying 12.5. This motor, she's tight. Got a lot of good compression. When checked all the holes, I think we were at like 150 to 165 across the board. Pretty dang strong. Let's see, let's hope she got enough juice. I went ahead and used my little funnel here, my little temporary fuel tank, filled that up. Yeah, I think you can hear some fuel in there. Let's see if she'll go live. Whoa. Not forget our coil. Going live. Or not. Oh, yep. Let's see, you actually have to hook it up to work. Come on, baby. Come on. Maybe she needs just a little more motivation here. Try that again. Come on. She acts like she wants to do something. So after further inspection, wasn't actually the fuel, wasn't actually the battery. The lead wire for the distributor was broken. Gotta look around a little more. Let's try this again. Oh, there's a cough. There's a cough. Probably gonna flood it, but here we go. Oh, you heard her cough again. Ho, 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 ho. Come on, baby. Now, I haven't adjusted this carburetor. I don't know where all our idle screws are. So let's just go ahead and try to give this thing a little head start on life. Oh, we're close. Maybe she's a thirsty girl. Maybe I'm flooding it out. We shall see. Come on. Ah, gotta have some more power. Get this thing turn a little faster. A little more tuning on the carburetor. A little more feeling around. Make sure the carburetor is actually full. That'll help a lot. Try 33. Oh, come on, baby. Hey! Hey! She's idling. Yeah, buddy. It's alive! Haha! Success. Still got a long way to go on the carburetor because I've never done one of these and I'm learning as I go. I'd say that's a huge success. That'll be it for this week's video. I've just plain and simple ran out of time. Thanks for sticking around. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you next time.
Does that mean it's time for lunch? Does that mean it's time for lunch?
You know it's time for Fun Lunch Friday.